Good morning, ladies. Yeah, happy 2021. Hope you guys had a good New Year's Eve um, and New Year's Day. It was uh, it was weird, right? It was different. We usually watch what goes on in Times Square, and that was strange this time. I mean, it's always a little strange, but it was very strange this time. There were more inflatable um, Planet Fitness people than there were actual people, which is probably for the best. But yeah, it was good. And, this has just been kind of a strange, um, I mean, there's no reason why you shouldn't have a strange holiday when you've had such a strange year. But I kept forgetting things that we normally do. And like black eyed peas, I always cook black eyed peas. This year, I got to New Year's Eve, and I just had forgotten to buy them, and so we didn't have them, but that's okay. Uh, so and it was fine, really. It's I think it's really interesting how we put such value in certain traditions. And we think they're very important, or we believe someone else thinks they're important, right? That, oh, the kids really love this, or that, my husband really depends on this being the same every year. The truth of the matter is that none of those things really matter at all. What matters is that we are healthy and that we are safe, that we uh, are able to make sure those things are true for other people as well, even and maybe uh, especially because we can't necessarily be with them. Um, so checking in on your family members and just making sure that they are doing okay. Um, I was reading somewhere where someone was complaining about um, that they didn't think that I guess they wanted to be closer to their sister, um, but they didn't think that she was reaching out to them and that she wasn't checking on them during um, the pandemic to make sure that they were okay. And the question was, well, are you checking on them? And I guess her belief was because I guess she was the younger sister that she should be the one that was checked on. I mean, there aren't any rules about this. If you feel like there have to be, then um, that's something you might want to consider. Um, Again, we sometimes try to force ourselves into these traditional roles, or we may have roles that we've played within the family um, that we need to break out of. We need to change. There's no reason you can't check on everybody. And don't wait around for them to check on you. Let them know how you're doing, right? Um, a lot of times people have, a lot of resentments and, kind of grudges, maybe, or I don't know what's less than a grudge. Maybe not quite a grudge, but they just are stuck in the way that they're doing things. They're not able to interact in a natural way with family members, especially. Um, Good morning, Tora. Oh, let me see. Ruth is here. Good morning, and Sandra, Susan, and Dora. Um, so I would challenge all of us to treat our family members as we would a friend. Um, and I hope that you would treat a friend um, in a way that is very forgiving, right? If you don't hear from a friend in a while, um, rather than assume that there's something up, most of us would just reach out, send them a message. There are so many ways to send messages now. It's not even funny. You don't even have to pick up a phone if you're not fond of phone calls, or um, I have some friends that if I call them, I know I'm gonna get stuck on the phone for 2 hours. So, I send them a text or I send them an email, just to let them know that I'm thinking about them and that, um, I hope they're okay. And it's a very nice thing to get that kind of um, contact, I think. It's very low demand, right? You're not demanding them drop their time and just get on the phone with you, but you're letting them know that you had a thought about them and that you hope that they're okay. Um, I would hope that in all times we could do this, but I think especially in times like this, it's very important. We don't always know what's going on behind the door, behind the curtain for people in their lives. Things may look very good on the outside, and um, but they're really kind of falling apart inside. And sometimes just reaching out to know that, and knowing that there are other people out there who care about them can really make a big difference. Um, so I would challenge you this week to, or how about just today? I don't know. Maybe that's too much, but I don't want to put you on the spot. How about this week? find find a couple people to reach out to. Um, Maybe someone you haven't spoke to in a while. Maybe a family member. If you have, this is a really good time of year to start fresh, I think, with people. So if you have a family member that you have kind of a beef with, sometimes these things build up over the years. You don't even remember for sure why you all don't get along, or maybe you remember very well what that is. Um, think about it. Think about, are you better off without them, or would you like to have them in your life? Um, Sometimes you are better off without them, and you may know people like this that are um, very destructive and very toxic to be around. And those may be people that are better off uh, at arm's length. But there are other times that it's just a simple misunderstanding or kind of historic um, situation. I know people who have entire branches of their family that they don't speak to anymore because of some slight that happened to their mom or their aunt or nothing to do with them at all. Um, so if you feel so inclined, reach out, um, see what happens. There is no harm in reaching out a friendly hand to someone. You may get it rebuffed, and that's okay. Um, but you know that you've done your part, and that can make a big difference. So, new beginnings, um, and forgivenesses. Right? It's a thing to remember that we are all just struggling, and we all are trying to figure out our way in the world. Um, to expect everyone to behave admirably at all times is to be constantly disappointed. So instead, let's expect everyone to be human and to have struggles and to have challenges and to fall short, right? Just as we do, not necessarily doing the right thing all the time, um, but given endless opportunities to do the right thing. We talked about this in yoga a lot that, um, we're here to learn. That is our mission here on earth, is to learn and to grow and to become sort of this best version of ourselves. And to that end, we are given unlimited opportunities. That is the beauty of the universe, is it never gives up on you. It never says you are hopeless. None of us are hopeless. We are all full of hope. and and we can give that generosity to one another, just as the universe is expects our best. And when we fail, gives us opportunities to do better. We can extend that generosity to the people around us as well. So expecting the best, but uh, giving numerous opportunities to do that. Um, Sometimes we need a lot of practice, right? We need to be offered this same situation in our life so many times. Um, Frequently, we can't see this in our own life, but we can often see it in other people's lives, right? Why do they get themselves into this situation over and over and over? Well, you know why, right? Because they're making the poor choices again and again and again. Same thing with us, right? We don't we don't like to turn that view on ourselves, but it's the truth. It happens to us all. We like to think that we're making different choices, but many times we aren't. We end up in the same place again and again. So um, I hope we can learn. I hope everyone can learn. But I am hopeful that even if we don't get it right the first time, you'll have lots of opportunities to get it right. And again, like we learn, um, we get tired, and I think that's to me that's the thing, right? We get tired of failing. We get tired of the bad consequences of our actions. Um, it's it's just it doesn't work anymore, and then we want to change. We want to pick different things. So that's one reason why I am not a big believer in New Year's resolutions per se, because you're working from the outside in. You are saying to yourself, well, this isn't good. Let's change this about ourselves. Well, you can try that. And sometimes it works. It doesn't usually stick, though, right? Because what your head thinks is important is not necessarily what's going on in here. The real change comes from within, right? It bubbles up like water from a spring. We seriously, we just have enough. We we go, we're done. This isn't working. I'm at my wit's end here, and we need to change. Um, so if you have that feeling, and we've all had that feeling, go with it. Follow that feeling. Those are the feelings that will make you have this positive change, um, and it will really stick because you won't have any choice, right? It's just not working, and you're gonna do it different. So let's do a little uh, pranayama to start out the new year, and then asana. Let's do alternate nostril breathing. We haven't done that too much, and I've been feeling really stuffed up the past week or so. So alternate nostril breathing is real good if you are having trouble in the sinus area or any kind of congestion in through the whole ear, nose, throat area. Um, it's a good one to stick in your pocket. It's not. It's a little awkward, and I think people feel uncomfortable doing it. But just you know, just don't let anyone see you doing it. You'll be fine. Look, I'm here like taping myself doing it, so it can't be that bad. So right hand, we're going to bring the middle finger to the forehead. The thumb is going to be on the right nostril, and the little finger on the left. Right? Is that right? Yeah, I guess so. You might find it different. Sometimes I think I use this finger on the other nostril, but you can try it. So we're going to close off the left nostril, leave the right nostril open for the breath in and out. Switch. Breathing in through this left nostril and out. And switch. So just continue with that, alternating nostrils. The thing to remember is you're always switching after the exhale, and you do whatever feels comfortable with your hand. You may, I realize I do it differently, I think, every time. So depending on where your hand wants to be and your fingers, just whatever, we're just closing off one nostril and then the other. So do a few more rounds of this. And then just come back to regular breath. So the interesting thing about alternate nostril breathing is, so if you are feeling kind of congested in one side or the other, you do a couple of rounds of it, it usually will loosen things up. And then, frequently you can blow your nose or things will just feel much more clear. Um, in Ayurveda, we have this belief that we're actually breathing through different sides. So each side of the nostril corresponds with this channel, energy channel that goes down the spine, the spinal column. And the different times of the day, we're breathing more dominantly through one side of the nostril compared to the other. And that this is good. This is sort of our natural state of things. And it's a way to balance the energy in the body. When you have a clogged nose on one side or the other, you're also clogging that energy, right? So um, you start getting over, sort of imbalanced in the energy because you can't do what your body sort of is normally doing, and that's sort of one of the reasons that people feel kind of out of it with colds and things like that, because they aren't balanced in an energetic sense. So clearing the nose in that way is a big thing, and you'll see. I remember in India, one of the things you'd see first thing in the morning is people blowing their nose, and they did not always have tissues, so they would kind of blow into their hand and throw it out. And at the time, I was like, "Oh my God, what is going on here?" And then I came to realize, I mean, still, that's not a great idea, but I realized that this was a sort of a traditional practice. This idea that you want to clear the nasal passages, clear this energy um, for the day is something. Another thing that they make great use of in Ayurveda is Neti Pots. And you don't hear about Neti Pots that much. There was a sort of a big thing about that, I think maybe in the early 2000s, and that's kind of fallen off. But they're still very, very good. If you don't know anything about them, they're a little pot, looks like a teeny tiny teapot. They're all different styles and sizes and things, but they are all for cleaning out the nasal passages. And I've seen them at Walgreens. Like they have little versions of them. You can get really fancy ones, really simple ones. But the idea is you make sort of a saline solution, and they usually come with some kind of thing. It's maybe salt, maybe some baking soda, something in there to kind of help clear the passages. You just want to be careful that you don't put too much. You don't want too strong of a concentration because the nasal passages are sensitive and you don't want to burn them, right, with too much salt. And you use sort of not hot water, not cold water, just sort of lukewarm. And you sort of pour it in. It's kind of strange, right? But you pour it in one nose and it comes back out the other nostril. So it moves through the sinus cavities and comes back out the other side. And a lot of times people do it in the shower. You could do it over the sink. It's kind of weird when you first start, but it can be very very helpful. And for people that have sinus issues or a lot of chronic congestion can find a lot of relief with that. So I would recommend it if you want to give it a try. Every now and then, they do have these like sort of cautionary things about people using unclean water to do this, and that you can get infections and things like that. So my best recommendation is that you boil your water and then leave it, right? So you can, if you have like a hot water kettle, like an electric one that heats up very quick, that's a great way to do it. You can boil it and then leave it out, pour it in a container that's just for your neti pot. Honestly, tap water around here, I'm sure, is quite safe. But if you're concerned about that, then absolutely boil your water, let it cool, and just use that particular water. Or you can buy, distilled water, or I would say buy distilled water, not necessarily spring water, just to be safe, right? So, yeah, neti pots. That's a good thing. I haven't thought about doing that in a while. I probably should. So there are a lot of practices that we have with Ayurveda that are kind of and when I was doing Ayurvedic training, it was quite heavy, like the weight of how much, like there's neti pot, there's tongue scraping. That's another thing that they do with Ayurveda, which is, I don't know if you've ever seen, it's like a loop of metal. Usually they do make them in plastic, but traditionally they're metal, either copper, or now they make stainless steel ones. And you scrape along your tongue to clear out sort of this, mucus and different things that build up on your tongue at night. Scrape it first thing in the morning. There's oiling and massage, oiling your body and massaging. So there's all these things that you do, and really it gets, you think, oh my God, it's so much to do, so much maintenance on my body. But you don't have to do all of them every day. You pick, and frequently people, again, will pick what works for them. What do you feel is helping you? What do you feel you need? Listen more to yourself. So Ayurveda is kind of an array of options. And you pick from them which ones are going to work for you, much like asana, right? Not every asana practice is going to work for each person's body. You'll find more value in certain types. And the same thing with Ayurvedic practices. You may only do them, maybe you only use a neti pot when you're feeling congested. It's not something you have to do every single day. So don't be scared by the size of the different and the amount of different things that can be done. You don't have to do them, but they're there. They're tools that you may want to take advantage of if you are feeling like you need a little extra support in your body. All right, so let's move into some asana. So we're sitting up. Breathe. I haven't done any asana since last week, so it's pretty good to take a break sometimes. Head down toward the chin, or toward the chest. Moving around. Keep the shoulders relaxed. One way and the other. Back to center. Lean forward and let's move around. One way and the other. Back up to your seat, arms wide. Take a deep breath. Exhale, hands together. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Interlace the fingers. Gazing up. Arms down by your side. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Once more. Lifting up. Left hand by your side. Reach across. Switch sides. And back up. Rolling back with the shoulders. A few times one way and then the other. Let's bring the hands on the knees. We're going to do a seated cat-cow. Right? So pulling the shoulders back, we're kind of leaning forward with the body, gazing up. And then reversing that in a way, we're sort of curving the spine, pull the shoulders forward, draw the belly in. This is maybe the only time I'm going to tell you to curve your shoulders, right? Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Once more. Inhale. And exhale. Left hand on your right knee, right arm behind you. Sitting up tall, take a twist. Back to center. Switch the sides. Breath in and moving left. And back to center. Let's bring the soles of the feet together. Sit up tall and then fold. Come on back up. We're going to bring the right leg on top. So left knee is pointing toward the front. We bring the right on top. Getting those knees as close to one over top of the other. Take a breath and fold. And then back up. Switching things around then. Take that breath in and fold over. And then we're back up. Both legs in front. Deep breath. Fold. Come on back up. Let's point and flex the feet. I feel like my camera angle has changed a little bit here. But that's okay. You can see my toes, right? You know what I'm doing. And then we're going to rotate. And if you feel stiff or tight in the ankles, do this slowly. You know, I'm doing this kind of fast. You don't need to do it fast. You can go very slowly. For some people, ankles are a real issue, you know, so you want to treat them carefully. I will say that foot and ankle mobility is very important, right? For balance, for all of these things that we want to work on, especially as we're aging. You don't want your feet to get stuck, right? You want a lot of flexibility. So if you find that that's a thing, that your ankles are tight, that you don't feel like you can pull them back, your toes back towards the body very well, work on it. And this is certainly something you can do seated. You do it at your desk, you do it sitting on the couch. Just work on that flexibility. It doesn't have to be a lot, you know, especially if things are tight, you may feel, you know, fatigued in that area quickly. So just do a little bit, a couple times a day, right? Just make it like your routine while you're watching your TV or something. You're going to work on foot mobility, ankle mobility. It's important. Just like all of this, right? All of this is important, but it starts from the bottom up. If you think about it, you know, we're walking and on our feet most of the day. So you definitely want to have that strength and that flexibility. So we've got feet back together. We're going to grab a hold of the toes or just the feet, leaning back. Let's balance, find the steadiness, and then some kind of extension here. And then bend the knees, set the feet back down. Let's extend out. Deep breath. Fold. Moving back up. Bend the right knee and bring that foot in close to the thigh. Take a deep breath. And then we're folding forward. Back up and switching legs around. Take a deep breath and then folding over this left leg. Back up and one more. Fold with both legs out in front. Take a deep breath and fold. And back up. Bend the knees. Lowering down, rocking back. So we're resting on our back on the mat. Take a couple of breaths. Make sure everything feels supported and comfortable. Sometimes when we are resting on our back, things kind of are moving around a little. That's fine. Just try to relax and let everything settle. The transitions between standing, sitting, lying down, you want to kind of get yourself settled in between them. Right? There's no particular rush. Let's bring the right knee in. Left leg extends. And then we're lowering that knee out to the side. Use that right arm, right hand to support your leg to some extent, however you want. Trying to keep the rest of the body flat on the mat. And then let's bring that right knee to center. And then across the body, we're rolling up on the left hip, but trying to keep that upper body flat on the mat. To that end, let's turn the head so we're gazing right. Moving back to center. Let's hug that leg in again. We can extend. So you can keep the hands at the thigh, or you can move them up. You can reach the toe or the foot. You can extend this out to the side too. If you have a wall, you can rest your foot on the wall like a lazy person, like me, because I don't feel like moving over. And then back to center. And we'll do all of that on the other side. So hugging that leg in, nice and relaxed. Right leg is long. Keep breathing. And then lowering out to the left. And back to center with that knee. Coming across the body, gazing left, rolling up on the right hip. And then coming back to center, we'll hug that leg in again, extend. See how that feels on this side. Maybe lowering out to the side. And then bending the leg. Let's extend both legs long, arms to a T. 5-pointed star. And let's get your block for supported bridge. Heels back, close to the body, lifting up. Find that place that feels supportive for you and breathe. And if you feel like bringing the knees in or extending the legs, you can do that, whatever feels right for your practice today. And rising up, remove your block, set back down, soles of the feet together. Relax. And then bring the knees to center. Hug them into the chest. You can move a little side to side. And then bringing your hands onto the kneecaps, let's rotate the knees around. One way and then the other. Extend the legs straight up, hands by your side. And then lowering, you could go one leg at a time or both legs together. Ending up resting on your mat. Finding peace in your Shavasana. So Shavasana means corpse pose, right? Which seems kind of scary, but in truth, I mean, we talk a lot about this in yoga. This idea that death isn't the end, right? That the death of the body is nothing but the freeing of the spirit. Um, so this idea that we are dying at the end of practice, right? We are saying goodbye to how we were at the beginning, right? We are never the same. We're changing every moment, every breath, every uh, cell in our body is being changed slowly, slowly, right? That's this idea that, every 7 years, I mean, this is, a huge oversimplification, right? But this is why I say every 7 years you should try new things, try new food, try new whatever, because uh, in theory, all of the cells in your body have exchanged themselves in the course of 7 years. So you really, literally have become another person, another physical body. Um, you have recreated yourself, which is sort of an exciting idea. Um, so, this idea of endings, of things being over, um, is never necessarily a bad thing. Um, it is just a thing. It is a state of being, a state of how we function in this world. Um, we may at the time feel like it is a bad thing, but in a larger perspective, or in with the passage of time, we may see how important that ending was. In our culture, we say, one door closes, a window opens. And the idea being there are no endings without beginnings. Something new happens. We may not know what that is. We may have no real information about what's coming next, but we can trust and have faith that there is something, um, just as it is here, right? There is always a next, and as humans, we have a lot of fear and we have a lot of dread about new things, right? Some people love new things, um, but most people are a little apprehensive about the next thing. They get attached to what is happening now. They don't want to change. They think they're happy, right? Or they are happy, right? They have made their happiness. But I think what we forget is that happiness is um, it's constantly, just like our body, right? It has to be remade and remade. There is no happiness in stagnation. There is no happiness in um, being stuck in one place. We bring our happiness with us. So as we found our happiness in this present reality, so shall we in our next um, version of whatever it is. It's our choice, and um, it's our it's one of our main missions, right? Our missions to learn, to to help others learn, and to be happy, to enjoy all that there is to enjoy. Moving a bit, fingers and toes, maybe stretching if you feel like it, and then making your way up to a seat. Let's bring hands together. Take a breath in and out. Thank you for taking some time to come to your mat this morning and for sharing it with us here. I hope you have a very good Monday. Namaste. Great. Meditation. Starting out our new year with some meditation. So when I don't do asana, I don't do meditation either, which is it's bad because I do find even just a little bit, 5 minutes a day. I usually do a little more than that on my regular days, but even when I do just the 5 minute meditation, I notice a difference in how I feel in that day. And when I don't do it, I really notice a difference. So sometimes taking that break from the yoga or the asana or the meditation is important to remind us why we are doing it. We get sort of stuck in this routine, and we're like, oh, we take it for granted, right? We don't realize how we would feel if we didn't have it. So, um, taking breaks are not necessarily a bad thing. As long as you come back, you got to come back. Okay, sitting up tall, breathe, relax. Find that gentle focus. Okay, and now we're back to our regular everyday stuff. Okay, hopefully feeling a little calmer, a little more put together, maybe. So enjoy your day. Remember, today or this week, see if there's someone that you could reach out to and get back in touch with. Just sharing a little bit of goodwill with the people around you. All right, I'll be back tomorrow. It will be Tuesday, and I will be here. Have a great day. You're welcome, Susan.